Point Park volleyball team has been the hottest team in the conference this season. So let's serve it over to Phil Poupore to see if they were able to stay atop the conference and keep the winning going.
Thanks, Kyle. The Point Park women's volleyball team has been on a roller coaster ride since the last Sideline episode. The Pioneers started strong Wednesday, September 24th against West Liberty in the Student Center Gymnasium. In the match, the Pioneers rolled to a 3-0 win with 25-20 being the score of all three sets. But after that game, the Pioneers found themselves with an 8-day break in the schedule. This break seemed to come at the perfect time. In the month of September, the Lady Pioneers went 12-1, with the lone loss coming against Wheeling Jesuit. Wheeling Jesuit is currently ranked 6th in the nation in Division II women's volleyball. Other than that blemish, the Pioneers excelled and established themselves as the class of the Kentucky Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. The team lost its September momentum and came out of the break looking sluggish, though. In its first game out of the break, the Lady Pioneers faced off against conference rival Indiana East. It was an exciting 5-set match, but the Lady Pioneers fell 3-2 with a combined score of 23-25, 25-19, 12-25, 25-22, and 15-8. Next, the Pioneers headed to Taylor University for a match against Indiana Wesleyan on Friday, October 3rd. The Pioneers went on to lose the match by a score of 3-1. The Lady Pioneers needed to quickly put those two losses behind them as they went into a doubleheader Saturday, October 4th at Indiana Wesleyan. In the first match against Taylor, the Pioneers came out strong but could not get over the hump as they fell in the 5th set, 3-2. In the second match, the Pioneers faced off against Georgetown, who is ranked 14th in the nation in the NAIA. Georgetown took the first set 25-21, but Point Park came back with its own 25-21 win in the second set. Georgetown then showed its strength with a 25-16 win in the crucial third set. Back on their heels, the Pioneers had to dig deep and make the rally, and boy did they ever. The Lady Pioneers fought tooth and nail for a 29-27 fourth set win, which forced a game-deciding 5th set. This was another back-and-forth battle, but the Pioneers held strong and upset the Hoyas with a 15-13 win in this final set. This was a monumental win for the Pioneers and one of the games that will be looked on after the season as the game that set them back on the track for a run at the conference title. Currently, the Pioneers' overall record is 15-10, and Point Park's conference record is 7-1. In the coming months, the Pioneers have left to face conference opponents Brescia and Asbury. Brescia is 5-14 overall with a conference record of 0-6. Now comes Asbury. Asbury, as of today, is riding a 13-game winning streak and boasts an overall record of 23-6. Asbury now leads Point Park by half a game for first place in the conference, with a conference record of 5-0. The last conference game of the season will be November 1st at home in the Student Center Gymnasium against the aforementioned Asbury. The Pioneers have a home record of 7-0, so having fans for this one will be a necessity. This Saturday, the Pioneers will play Clearwater Christian and Ave Maria.
Now, Phil, what do you think caused this losing streak for the Pioneers?
I really do think it's just a matter of just having too much of a break. I think it really killed their momentum, not being able to get more game time in during that 8-day layoff. So I really think it's just a matter of them losing momentum by having too much of a break.
Now, what can we all expect in the road ahead?
In all reality, I think they just really need to keep their focus on the conference matchups. Like I said, Brescia is they're 0-6 in the conference, so that should be a win, even though they did lose to Indiana East, who didn't have a much better record. And the Asbury game, as long as they beat Brescia, will be huge, since whoever wins that game will probably win the conference.
Now, the Pioneers, how big is this weekend for them going down to Clearwater and picking up some victories at that tournament?
Yeah, going down to Florida, they have a doubleheader Friday and Saturday. None of the teams have that great of records. Ave Maria, I believe, is like 3-13. So I really think that this is a key weekend. I think they can pick up a lot of wins and get back on track for the rest of the season.
Thanks, Phil. The rugby team did not play this week, so let's pitch it over to Josh Croup for a look at the team.
That's right, Kyle. The Point Park Rugby Club was not in action this week as previously scheduled, as they were forced to forfeit Saturday's game against Franciscan University. The team had attempted to schedule a friendly match with Franciscan after a number of injuries to key players. Point Park did not want inexperienced players facing off against one of the best clubs in the nation, and Franciscan was not cooperative in scheduling a friendly. So now we're going to take a look back at the rugby club season so far and take a look at their 2 remaining games. The team started off the season with 2 losses against nearby Grove City College and Geneva College. In those 2 games, the team was outscored 59-20. They were outscored 33-10 in the second half alone in the first 2 games. The team then looked to rebound against rival Carnegie Mellon University. After a scoreless halftime, Point Park was able to catch a break midway through the second half when Jake Como picked the ball up out of a scrum and took the ball for a 45-yard try down the field for the only score of the game. Point Park came away with a 5-0 victory, for which some called the biggest win in club history. Point Park was unable to carry their momentum over to the next week when they faced Fairmont State University. They dropped the match 34-10 and fell to 1-3 on the season. After this past weekend's forfeit loss against Franciscan, the team sits at 1-4 with only 2 games remaining on the season. The Bison Rugby Club's next match will be this Saturday against Robert Morris University. RMU is 4-1 on the season, with their only loss coming against Geneva College in Week 4. In RMU's 12-7 loss, they had 7 starters out, 5 with injuries and 2 who just couldn't make it. Including that game, RMU has outscored opponents 195-55. Point Park will close its season against 1-4 Allegheny College. Like Point Park, Allegheny's sole victory on the season came against Carnegie Mellon. Out of the 8 teams in the conference, Point Park is currently tied with Allegheny for 6th place in the conference. And as of now, Point Park's playoff chances are not looking very good. Only the top 4 teams advance to the conference tournament, and it doesn't look like Point Park is going to be able to make it into the Final Four.
Now, Josh, this team, they're having a rough season. They got banged up, but what were some positives besides for that win against Carnegie Mellon?
Well, they're trying to get their young guys involved a lot more, which we're starting to see as the season moves along. And there's not too many upperclassmen that will be leaving this season. So in the coming weeks, we need to really get these young guys in and get them a lot more experience, so that way they'll be more prepared for next year. And they're really starting to improve as the season goes along. And a big problem the team had at the beginning of the year was that they weren't conditioned well enough to survive into the second half, which is why they were outscored so much in those second halves. Well, now the team is starting to get conditioned a lot better, and they're starting to hang in there for the second halves of the game. So hopefully that will be a bright sign as the season winds down.
Now, how important is it for them to get those young players in? Because as you said, these older guys are leaving.
Yeah, it's really critical to get these guys in. There's a couple big guys. The Johnson brothers are going to be graduating. One of them's a captain, and they're going to be looking to pass the team along down to the younger guys in there. And it's a big freshman class, a lot bigger than they had anticipated, and getting them experience is really critical if they want to have a successful season next year and improve on just a 1-4 season to start the year.
Next, we will go over to Trever Sheets, who will talk about the good, the bad, and ugly that went on in regional sports.
The Pittsburgh Steelers avoided back-to-back losses by overcoming a lackluster performance by their offense on Sunday, beating the Jacksonville Jaguars 17-9. While the offense accumulated 372 yards of total offense, they were only able to score 1 offensive touchdown, a 1-yard pass to backup tight end Michael Palmer in the second quarter. The defense controlled the game, limiting rookie quarterback Blake Bortles to 191 yards passing and 2 interceptions. The second interception sealed the game for the Steelers when cornerback Bryce McCain intercepted the pass and returned it 22 yards for the touchdown. With the win, the Steelers have a record of 3-2 and are only a half game back of first place Cincinnati. The Steelers' next game is against rival Cleveland at First Energy Stadium Sunday afternoon. Bucktober was short-lived for the Pittsburgh Pirates this year after they were eliminated from the National League playoffs by the San Francisco Giants last Wednesday by a score of 8-0. Giants pitcher Madison Bumgarner pitched a complete game 4-hit shutout to move the Giants on to face the Washington Nationals in the National League Divisional Series. The Pirates now go into an offseason where they face the prospect of losing 3 major components of the 2014 roster: catcher Russell Martin and starting pitcher Francisco Liriano and Edison Volquez, who are all free agents. Second baseman Neil Walker and utility man Josh Harrison are both arbitration eligible and should cash in after big seasons. Lastly, the Pittsburgh Penguins start the regular season Thursday versus the Anaheim Ducks at Consol Energy Center. The status of star center Evgeny Malkin is unknown for the opener after being held out of training camp and preseason play with an undisclosed injury. This will be the debut for new head coach Mike Johnston, who had previously coached for the Portland Winterhawks of the Western Hockey League.
After the break, find out which Point Park athlete will be running in the Boston Marathon in the spring.